Okay, how about now? 1, 2, 1, 2. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? No? Okay. Okay. We're going to start over and we'll edit this so that we start from this first part. So thank you so much. That would have been crazy to do like 90 minutes without a voice. All right. Well, that's the benefits of going live and also the drawbacks. Okay. So I'm going to start this over again. Okay, guys? And then I'll just edit it and make it sound better. Okay. Cool, cool, cool. All right. Let's get started over again. Boom. Hi, everybody, and welcome to Taliko Vima English Job Interview Strategy. My name is Jonathan, and Taliko Vima just means final step in Greek. So we're teaching fluency, and our topic tonight is about job interview strategy. You know, if you have an interview, that means that your resume was successful, and that's a good thing. But many people are so surprised that they got the interview that they figure they can just go in there and challenge the job interview. But that's not the way it should be. Remember, if you plan to succeed, you have to have a plan. And if you fail to plan, then you're actually planning to fail. So just like there are distractions in the background with all the office noise, there are going to be a lot of things trying to distract you as you prepare for your job interview. But today, we're going to go over the strategy that you should have along with some common mistakes that people make during their interview. So yes, your resume served you well to get you the interview, but now you have to demonstrate that you are the same person as your resume. You have to show the correlation and the connectivity. It sounds like a lot, but we're going to go over it step by step, strategy point by strategy point tonight. And then at the end, we'll go over some common mistakes for you to avoid. And you'll see how those common mistakes are because people did not use the strategies that we're going to teach you first, okay? All right. Well, let's get into the first slide. Research the company. Research the company. Learn about the company's mission, their values, their products and services, and recent news. This knowledge will demonstrate your interest and enthusiasm during the interview. Doing your research about the company will show how interested you are in the company and that you want to be a part of it. Whatever we're interested in, we study, right? When you're interested in a car, you study and learn about the car before you make the purchase. If you're interested in a person, you would study that person from a distance in a very respectful way, and you would learn more about that person before you interacted or before you made your intentions known. So the same thing is with your company. You've chosen to apply for the job. Your resume got you in the door. And now you're going to be evaluated to see if you match your resume. You want to come prepared, knowing about the company, the mission, maybe how the company started, what was their vision then. Has the vision changed? Yeah. You want to know their values, about their products and their services, any recently new products, and of course, recent news. Unless it was negative news recently, you don't want to mention that. And so this will demonstrate that you are interested and you have enthusiasm and you feel like you're already a part of their company, and they should feel that too. So the very first thing we're talking about is researching the company. Understand the job requirements. Understand the job requirements. Analyze the job description carefully to understand what skills and qualifications the company is seeking. Identify specific examples from your past experiences that highlight your relevant abilities. I want to say welcome to Burhan and also Monera and Mariam to the room. We're doing this live, but of course this will be on our channel for you to reference later or watch it again. So understanding the job requirements. You know, if you do not correlate your past experiences with the job requirements, you will not seem like the best candidate for the job. So think of examples in your past work experience or examples of your personal convictions or your character that line up perfectly with the company's values, and make mention of that. Don't talk about the things that don't line up with it. Don't talk too much about the things that line up with it, but give enough information to show that you're already experienced or you've realized that the very things that they're looking for are exactly what you have. Yeah, that is the strategy number 2, is looking for and understanding the job requirements. The next point that we're going to talk about, the next strategy point, is to practice common interview questions. Prepare responses to commonly asked interview questions such as, tell me about yourself, or what are your strengths and weaknesses? Practice answering these questions concisely and confidently. What does that mean? Well, concisely means just to the point. Again, if they have several questions and they're interviewing several people, you don't want to assume and take up a lot of their time. If they want you to elaborate more, they will ask you about it more. Yes. So wait for them to ask and give them concise answers. Answer confidently. And yes, prepare your answers, but you don't want to come in with memorized words. You want to prepare your answers so that you can put into words how you really feel or what you want to relay. And then at the moment of the job interview, you want to relay that from your own words right now and not just recite something that you've memorized. Does that make sense? You're trying to create a personal impact, because when you go to a job interview, it's like you're a number. You're not really a person. So you need to bring that resume to life, and you need to also answer concisely, showing respect for their time, and you need to answer confidently, demonstrating that you know the things you're saying are actually the truth. Your goal during a job interview is not to just recite your resume. They already have that. Your goal during the job interview is to make a personal impact, to have you stand out from the rest of the applicants in your character and in your concise and appropriate answers. Prepare your own questions. Prepare a list of thoughtful questions to ask the interviewer. This shows your interest in the role and helps you to gather information about the company and the position. So we'll see that one of the mistakes that people can make is not to prepare any questions. At the end of the interview, you're probably balancing between stress and passing out, right? And you're surviving and you feel great just to survive. And then at the end, you know it's the end, and they say, do you have any questions for us? And many times people say, oh, no, I'm fine, thank you. Well, you should have a question or two. Some common questions you can have loaded are things like, what is the horizontal movement available to me when I start working for your company? What that means is, If I'm hired at this role, is there the ability to move in parallel departments? Can I move around? Is that possible? Not pay raise, not promotion, but lateral movement, horizontal movement. The other question, which could be very important if it is a company that may offer a career possibility, is you want to ask them what is the vertical movement or what is the promotability of the role. Some jobs at companies really don't translate into anything higher than that. You know, it could be an entry-level job. But other jobs could prepare you for better jobs along the way. So those would be two questions you can ask. What is the lateral or horizontal movement available when I come work for your company? And also, what is the ability to be promoted or the promotability of the position you're going to be in? Have those ready. Dress professionally. Dress appropriately for the interview, considering the company's culture. It's generally better to be slightly overdressed than underdressed. Pay attention to personal grooming as well. It's about the details. You're trying to impress upon them you as a person. And so the details can be very important. A new manicure, even for men, keep your nails trimmed and functional. Having your haircut be fresh, and your clothing should be chosen just above what is appropriate in that work environment. If you don't know what that is, pay a visit to the company, see what the general dress code is. If it's short sleeve business, then come with a tie on, even if most of the people there just have an open collar. If it's very casual, like working for some of those big research companies or search engine companies, you can just wear that stiff collared shirt without a tie. And that will show a little more formal approach and let them tell you that you can dress down. Don't assume, right? So these are all details. They may seem like common sense, but as you'll see in the common mistakes that people make, they're not all that common. People just misunderstand or assume or don't prepare at all. So already, by you being here and by those watching the replay, you're showing that you have an interest in job interview success. You have a desire to be successful at job interviews. Now bring the necessary documents. Bring copies of your resume, your reference letters, and any other documents the employer may have requested before, but it's helpful to have them with you at the same time as the interview. They might ask for another copy. They may have misplaced your resume, and it would be an awesome demonstration of preparedness for you to be able to say, oh, I have an extra copy right here. Have it very well organized on quality paper. Even if you emailed it to them, don't even blink. If they're looking around, shuffling through their paper, looking to find your resume, hand them another copy. That's a nice way to make an impact. Also, have a notepad and pen for taking notes during the interview. I know this is a little old school, but something about having a notepad and a pen compared to having a tablet with you is, without a doubt, well, with very little doubt, they know that you're not doodling. They know that you're not just clicking on something or answering a text. It looks very much like you're taking notes. Again, this shows an interest, but they might be actual notes. You know, you may be a person who takes many interviews because you want to refine your interview process and also adjust to the pressures of an interview. So if you're wise, you would put in for several positions at different companies and get all the practice you can get at job interviews. Yeah. So taking notes, oh, they said this, they asked that, or wow, I should research this more. That would be very useful to you, whether you get this particular job or not. It's a good suggestion. Practice good body language. Practice good body language. Maintain good posture, make eye contact, and offer a firm handshake when greeting the interviewer. Nonverbal cues can convey confidence and professionalism. Good body posture, sitting up straight, not slumped over. I'm here for the job interview, right? I'm here for the job interview. Oh, yes, yes. Make eye contact. Offer a firm handshake. Don't let your hand turn to mush because you don't want to squeeze. That's weird. Give equal pressure to what they're giving to you. It's a good handshake. And nonverbal cues can convey confidence. If your posture's good, if you're engaged, if your hand movement isn't like this, right? That's nervous. But if you're like, I see. Well, thank you for asking me that question. I'm really glad. If you learn how to do all of this, you'll communicate more to them. You'll look comfortable and confident. That's another one for you. Welcome, Jack from China. Nice of you to join us. It's nice to have you here. Showcase your accomplishments. Now, this is a tactic that takes some practice because you don't want to sound boastful, but you do not want to waste the time to express your experience, to express your skills and how that skill and experience has benefited you at your current or your past job or other jobs you've had. And again, how it lines up with their expectations and what they want from you. So prepare specific examples of your achievements and how they relate to the job requirements. They recommend using the STAR method: situation, task, action, and result. So when you're explaining your achievement, talk briefly and concisely about the situation, the task, then the action, and the result of all of that. To structure your response and demonstrate your skills effectively, the STAR method. Be prepared for behavioral questions. More and more, many interviewers ask behavioral questions to assess your past behavior as an indicator of future performance. Prepare examples that showcase your problem-solving abilities, teamwork skills, leadership, and adaptability. All right. They ask behavioral questions to see your character, essentially, because our personality is the artificial facade or front that we can put on. But your character is developed through consistent decisions and personal conviction. So if you're confident and your character is consistent, they can almost visualize how you will perform and how well you will be doing there in their company. And the examples to demonstrate your problem-solving abilities, teamwork skills, leadership, and adaptability, because your leadership might play a role. As we've mentioned in our Hello Talk group, they might even consider you for a leadership role during an interview for an associate role. So they might ask you some deeper questions, maybe things that would satisfy them that were not mentioned on your resume. So be ready to embrace this opportunity. Talk about your problem solving, which would be like de-escalation, problems with customers, problems with coworkers, teamwork skills. Are you the promoter of good teamwork? Are you a great organizer or speaker or leader of teams? Any other leadership things you may have, and how you can adapt. The reason adaptability is so important is because companies are constantly changing. This is not like 50 years ago where there was a company, they had a program or a process, and they just kept doing it. Now, in order to survive and even thrive in the world market, companies have to constantly shapeshift or change and adapt. So they want to know, can you do the same thing? Or are you going to be very mechanical and then fail to grow with the company? You see? That is why they might ask you something like this. Now, stay calm and confident. Remember to take deep breaths before the interview to help calm your nerves. We had talked about how When you're nervous, you begin to take shorter breaths, which increases your pulse and just multiplies the nervousness. So stop and take some deep breaths and relax. This is just an interview. I'm going to learn so much from this interview. I've already studied my questions and my answers. And I've got this. This is going to go well. So remember that the interviewer is interested in learning more about you. So be yourself and let your character, I should have changed that to, your true character shine through. Now follow up after the interview. Let's talk about this a little bit. Following up after the interview. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? Now, maybe you haven't heard from them, or maybe you were told they chose someone else. So why would you follow up? Well, because of a couple of reasons. One, the person they chose may have also received another opportunity somewhere else and turned down the position. It could happen. The person that they chose could have something come up from their past that disqualifies them for the position. It could happen. The person they initially chose may just not work out. They could have them for a few weeks of kind of trial. We call that probationary period. And they're not a good fit. Their personality clashes and things like that. So you always want to be prepared to be their second or third choice. It's fine. So by sending a thank you email or a letter to the interviewer within 24 hours, you express your appreciation for the opportunity and you reiterate your interest in the position. This gesture demonstrates professionalism and can help you to stand out. Very few people do this. So if you do it and they have had a problem with the person they initially chose, guess who's first on their mind? Yes, you, Ruslan. So please do the follow-up. Do the follow-up. If you guys are enjoying this, go ahead and click a like down below. Appreciate it. Please subscribe to our channel. Here we go. So remember that each interview is an opportunity to learn and improve your skills. So reflect on your experiences and adjust your approach as needed. And we do wish you the very best with your job interviews. It's exciting to get an interview, but in many countries, there are tens or hundreds of people that have made it to the interview. So how to set yourself aside from all of them? Well, the strategies that we talked about. The strategies here can be very useful in helping to set yourself apart, make yourself a person and not just a number, and leave an impression upon them. Then the 24-hour follow-up, they're like, hey, this was different. I think word went out that we already chose someone, but they still sent us a thank you for the opportunity. It's kind of cool. Now, let's get into the meat of the next topic. The next one is going to be common interview mistakes. Have you ever had an interview and then after the interview you didn't get picked and you're like, what did I do wrong? Why wouldn't they choose me? I thought I nailed it. I did like Jonathan said. I watched every single Taliko Vima interview video. I looked at everything. I joined their live stream. Why didn't I make it? You may not know. They may never give you a feedback, but at least you can consider some of these common interview mistakes and make sure you don't do them, right? Now, job interviews can indeed be nerve-wracking, and it's common for candidates to make mistakes due to stress or lack of preparation or lack of sleep. Get plenty of rest before your job interview. Here are some of the most common mistakes people make at job interviews. Everyone ready? Here we go. Lack of preparation. Lack of preparation. Now, failing to research the company, its mission, values, and the job role you're applying for can leave a negative impression on the interviewer or interviewers. Therefore, it's crucial to familiarize yourself with the company and be prepared to answer questions about why you want to work there. Poor body language. Do you see how these line up with what we were talking about in the other slides? A part of the strategy. So a lot of this is failure to have a strategy, and you end up doing things that cause bad impressions or even could lose you the opportunity. So poor body language. We joked about slumping over or being distracted and not making eye contact, or just standing there with your hands in your lap instead of using your hands to emphasize, I really want to work for this company. I'm so excited to be here, depending on the job. So nonverbal cues play a significant role in interviews. Avoid slouching, crossing your arms, or avoiding eye contact. I don't know. I'd like the job. Yeah. Yeah, if you want to give it to me, either way, I don't care. Right? So open body language. You don't want to seem disinterested or lacking confidence. Maintain good posture. Make eye contact. Use your appropriate gestures to demonstrate your engagement. Inadequate answers. Inadequate answers. Giving vague or incomplete answers can be detrimental. Detrimental. Take the time to understand the question and provide thoughtful and specific responses that highlight your skills, experiences, and achievements. Use the STAR method. Situation, task, action, result, as we talked about in your strategy for interviews. That way your answers will be structured and very clear to the listener. Make sure you have adequate answers for your exciting job interview. Talking too much or too little. Of course, I talk a lot, so I'd have to be more concise with my answers, but you may be one to talk too little. Maybe you're shy or just nervous or whatever, so you want to speak enough to not be considered a hermit or someone who doesn't talk at all. And you don't want to go long because there are usually several questions. They just want to get a genuine answer from you and move on. So striking the right balance between providing enough information and not overloading the interviewer is crucial. Rambling excessively or giving extremely brief answers can both be seen as red flags. Practice concise and focused responses that address the question effectively. Yeah, there's a balance. So some of the things you can consider when you're studying this company is finding out how long the interviews are. Or if you have the address for your interview and it's not too much trouble, you could go in the waiting room, even though you do not have an interview that day, and see how long the interviews are taking. Or you can get to your interview early and watch someone go in and see how long it takes them to come out. This could give you a clue as to how long or short your answers should be. Negativity about previous employers. Negativity about previous employers. You want to take the high road and not speak poorly about your past employers, because speaking poorly about past employers or colleagues reflects poorly on your professionalism. Even if you had a negative experience, it's important to remain diplomatic and highlight what you learned from those situations instead. So again, don't talk bad about your last job. Don't talk bad about your last employer or coworkers. Try to package your answers in a way that shows a better light on them and give them the benefit of the doubt. That is really important. It shows you take the high road on these things instead of falling into the easy trap of complaining. Well, since we have a number of people in the chat, I want to encourage all of you to prepare any questions you may have by the end of this, and we can answer some of those questions. So go ahead and prepare your answers based on what you're hearing, and see if you want to type them in the chat so that we can answer them at the end of this series. Lack of enthusiasm. Showing a lack of enthusiasm or genuine interest in the position can hinder your chances or get in the way of your chances. Employers want to see candidates who are excited about the opportunity and motivated to contribute to the company's goals. Display your passion for the role and the company throughout the interview. This also requires balance. This requires balance because if you say too much, you'll seem like a flatterer. You'll seem like someone who is just trying to get their attention or be on their good side. So you want to say enough to show that you are passionate about your role and the company, but not so much so that you look like someone who's just going to be a good performer in front of the boss. So there's a balance to this too. Doing mock job interviews can be very useful. You and your friends should do mock job interviews together, and that way you'll be a little more adjusted to the environment and the types of questions without looking at notes, how you would answer them. You can even record your time together with your friends so you can watch yourself, your body language, and see if you're actually using these. I want to welcome Yen to our group. Thank you so much. Yen is actually a part of all of our groups. She's just joining us now. She has a question that we're going to answer at the end. Now, not asking questions. Remember we said to prepare questions for the end? Well, not asking those questions can be a big mistake. You want to ask these questions. So when the interview asks you if you have any questions, responding with no can be a missed opportunity to demonstrate your interest and engagement. Prepare a list of relevant questions about the company, the team, or the job responsibilities to show that you've done your homework and are generally interested. Poor time management. Poor time management. Failing to manage your time effectively during the interview can be problematic. Be mindful of your response's length and avoid going off on tangents, as it can consume valuable interview time and prevent you from addressing other important points. This is really crucial because some of their questions may be just general questions. And if you go long on your answer, you can't get to the more meaningful questions that they may have for you. So manage your time during the interview wisely. If you do not need to elaborate, then don't. If they want you to, they'll ask, can you share a little bit more about your answer when you were talking about work experience? They'll ask you. So give a concise, meaningful answer that aligns with the values of the company and your new role that you want to have, and then let it be done. And they'll ask you if they want to know more information. Inappropriate appearance or behavior. We talked about this. We talked about this before. Dressing inappropriately for an interview or displaying unprofessional behavior can harm your chances. Dress in business attire unless otherwise specified, and maintain a courteous and professional demeanor throughout the interview. Remember, the interview is, you're trying to get the job, but you're trying to be as sincere as possible. You want to be respectful of this setting and the opportunity they've given you. So dressing professional to the degree that we talked about earlier, just above what their normal workwear is within that company. You don't come to a job interview in a tuxedo unless the role you're applying for requires you to wear one, then it may look appropriate. So be very tasteful about it. Have a plan. And again, consider other things. If you can talk to people or find out if other people have interviewed with that company, that can be of very good use for you. Neglecting to send a thank you letter. We talked about follow-up. Lack of follow-up can be detrimental or leave a bad impression upon the employer. Or you could miss an opportunity of just demonstrating how you're thankful for the interview to make yourself rise above the pack. So neglecting to send a thank you email or follow-up message after the interview can make you appear disinterested. Take the time to express your appreciation for the opportunity and reiterate your interest in the position. We had said earlier that even if the position has been filled, if you know right away or they tell you right away, we've got our candidates, thank you all for coming, we know who we want for the job, that's fine, but still send a thank you for the opportunity letter. Any number of things could have happened to the candidate or candidates they chose, and they're looking for someone from the pool of people they interviewed, and you could make yourself stand out in a great way by sending a genuine thank you. Now, by being aware of these common mistakes, you can better prepare for your job interviews and increase your chances of making a positive impression on the employers. That's the goal, impact, right? Changing yourself from a number and a file to an actual person who they can relate to or get to know during the interview. Now, we were asked a great question. Yen asks us to give some examples of the STAR approach or the STAR program. So the STAR method, we talked about it in, here we go, let's do it like this. The STAR method is a method that talks about using situation, task, action, and result in your answer when you're talking about your past experiences or anything that might relate to the current job you're applying for. And so in the STAR method, it's a structured approach commonly used in interviews to provide concise and structured responses to behavioral interview questions. STAR stands for situation, task, action, and result. And here are some examples. So the question would be, tell me about a time when you faced a challenging situation at work. Tell me a time when you faced a challenging situation at work. Are you still with us, Yen? I hope so. All right. So situation would be, in my previous role as a project manager, we were assigned a complex project with a tight deadline. The task would be, my task was to coordinate the team, allocate resources, and ensure timely completion of the project. The action, I conducted a meeting with the team to discuss individual responsibilities, created a detailed project plan, and set milestones to track progress. I also established open communication channels for everyone to share updates and address any issues promptly. The result was, as a result of the careful planning and effective communication, we were able to complete the project before the deadline, exceeding the client's expectations. So we have other examples here for you. And I think what I'll do is I'll blank out the screen here so that in the edit of this, I'll be able to put the text in the screen so everyone can see it. Describe a situation where you had to work with a difficult team member. Describe the situation where you had to work with a difficult team member. Well, during a group project in college, I encountered a team member who had a negative attitude and often disagreed with the rest of the team. The task. Our task was to create a marketing campaign for a local nonprofit organization. Action. To address the situation, I scheduled a meeting with the team member to understand their concerns and perspective. I actively listened and tried to find common ground. I also took the initiative to involve them in decision-making and recognize their contributions. The result. By acknowledging their opinions and involving them in the process, the team member became more engaged and cooperative. We were able to collaborate effectively and deliver a successful marketing campaign that received positive feedback. So those are two examples. Yen in the chat asked for more about the STAR program, the situation, the task, the situation, the task, the action, and the results. Situation, task, action, results. This is a very structured way to respond when they're asking you these questions. There's another example I will share with you right now. Can you give me an example of a time when you demonstrated leadership skills? Again, this could be because they're considering you for leadership. The situation. In my previous job, I was assigned to lead a cross-functional team for a product launch. The task. My task was to ensure effective coordination between departments, set clear goals, and motivate the team to achieve them. Action. I organized regular team meetings to provide updates, address concerns, and solicit feedback. I also delegated tasks based on the team members' strengths and provided guidance and support whenever needed. Additionally, I encouraged open communication and recognized individuals and team achievements. Now, the result. As a result of the collaborative and supportive environment, the team worked cohesively, met the project deadlines, and successfully launched the product, leading to the increased sales and positive customer feedback. Now remember, when using the STAR method, situation, task, action, and result, it is important to provide specific details and quantify the results whenever possible to make your responses more impactful. So those are just three examples of the STAR program, the STAR acronym for responding: situation, task, action, and result. That way you can answer concisely without missing any of the important parts of it. I hope that was helpful, Yen. Thank you for asking that. And we've gone over now these different strategies for job interviews, as well as some common mistakes that people make during a job interview. The plan is to allow this version to be released even with the mistakes in the beginning, first couple minutes, until I can edit this and then republish it under the name edited version. And the edited version will have the text of what we just read as examples, along with some other features. And of course, we'll remove that first part that was a little bumpy because there was no voice. Anybody else in the chat have a question about this topic or a question about the information that we shared? I'll give you a couple of minutes. Well, Toliko Vima English is the name of our community, and we are here on YouTube. We're also on TikTok International under the same name, Toliko Vima English. We have a podcast, but it's called Truly Pivotal Moments. Truly Pivotal Moments. I'll put it in the chat here. It's on Spotify. We also have Zoom meetings. If you're interested in those, then just leave a comment on the video. We are daily live streaming for 2 hours on Hello Talk. Hello Talk is a mostly free language apps with VIP features, but we're also on WeChat. So if you are able to watch this, we're going to try to put this in 5-minute segments or some 5-minute highlights and share them with our friends and family in China on WeChat. We are on 2 different venues in China. One is Bilibili as well as Little Red Book. So we're all over the place, and we're just trying to be available to help you with your English fluency. So Ruslan says, at the Crooks, we might continue discussing this topic on Sunday Zoom meeting if people are really interested in it. Yeah, absolutely. Because I have maybe 20 questions that are asked during the interview with ideal answers. And then I break those down into how to prepare an answer that's that detailed and refined, yet making it yours, not just repeating something. So that's a good suggestion, Ruslan, for our Sunday live here, or even our Zoom meeting. Awesome. Well, if there's not anything else from the chat, then we will close this meeting for now, and I will go ahead and prepare to edit this so that it's a little more refined with more interactivity. And I want to thank you all for coming today. It was so nice to have you here. It was relatively short notice for our topic and scheduling today. However, we try every Saturday night to have this live stream here. And again, please go to our channel, Taliko Vima English, on YouTube, and subscribe. Look at the videos. We have a lot of videos for you there. All right, well, until next time, I want to thank you guys for joining us. This has been Taliko Vima English, bringing you through the final steps of fluency, one day at a time, moment by moment, by making the world your classroom. Thank you all for joining us, and we'll talk to you again soon.